Sir,
Yeah. Good morning, guys. In the last
hello,
session, we discussed about the internals of the Spring Boot,
sir.
and we also discussed about bean scopes in the Spring Boot.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, hi, sir. Tell me. Someone is asking a question. Tell me, sir, what is your doubt?
Hello, sir.
Tell me. I can hear you. Guys, in the last session, we discussed about internals of the Spring Boot, how Spring Boot application will run in the background, what is Spring Boot, what are the advantages with the Spring Boot, how to develop Spring Boot applications, and what is the folder structure of the Spring Boot, what is a start class in the Spring Boot application, internals of the run method, what is boot application annotation, what is the component scanning in the Spring Boot, what is the base package, what is the sub package in the Spring Boot, how to represent one Java class as a Spring Bean by using some annotations available, and what is the component, what is the configuration, what is the bean annotation we understood. And we also discussed about bean scopes concept. Our last topic was bean scopes. Can you tell me what is the purpose of bean scopes, guys? What is the purpose of bean scopes? Bean scopes will represent how many objects should be created for a bean and when the object should be created for a bean. By default, Spring Beans are singleton. That means only one object will be created at a time. If you want to create multiple objects for a bean, then you need to go for prototype. And the singleton beans are eager loading beans. When the IOC container started, object will be created for the singleton. Prototype beans, every time when you call the getBean method, then the object will be created. So in the real time, 99% of the classes are singleton beans only, because if you create multiple objects for the same class unnecessarily, memory will be wasted in the JVM. Then we will get out of memory problems in the application. To avoid that, we are going to use mostly singleton beans only. One object will be created. If you have a special requirement that every time you want to create a new object, then you can go for prototype. How to specify the scope of the bean? How can we change the scope of the bean? By using scope annotation. All right. Next one, auto wiring. Next one is auto wiring. So anybody analyzed what is auto wiring? I gave that as a task. What is auto wiring? What is the meaning of auto wiring, guys?
It is dependency injection.
It is used to perform dependency injection. Auto wiring is used to perform dependency injection. So here, IOC container is managing our classes in the project. So a project will contain multiple classes, controllers will be available, service classes will be available, and DAO classes will be available. So when we are having multiple classes like this, one class should communicate with the another class. So controller should communicate with the service class, service should communicate with the DAO. If one class want to communicate with the another class, we need the object. DAO object is required for the service, then service can call the DAO method. Service object is required for the controller, then controller can call the service. So here we are going to inject DAO into service, and we will inject a service into controller. So the process of injecting one class object into another class object is called as dependency injection. So here, dependency injection, the process of injecting one class object into another class object is called as dependency injection. We can also call it as DI. So example, so controller should call service method. And here service should call DAO method. Controller should call service method. Service should call DAO method. If a controller want to call the service method, then what we need to do? Inject service object into controller. Then controller class can call the service class method. So if you see in the diagram, in the project, multiple classes will be available like this. Controller should call the service method, then service object will be injected into controller. Service should call the DAO method. DAO object should be injected into service. Service should call the DAO method. So what we need to do? Inject DAO object into service. That is called dependency injection. So the process of injecting one class object into another class object is called as dependency injection. IOC container is responsible. IOC container is responsible to perform dependency injection. IOC container responsible to perform dependency injection. We can tell to IOC to perform the dependency injection. Dependency injection can be performed in 3 ways, guys. If you go for XML, 2 ways available. But when you come for the annotation, there are 3 ways to perform dependency injection. DI we can perform in 3 ways. One is called setter injection. Second one is called as constructor injection. Third one is called as field injection. SI, CI, FI. So if you use setter method to perform the dependency injection, which is called setter injection. If you use a constructor to perform the dependency injection, which is called CI. If you directly use the variable to perform the dependency injection, which is called field injection. So here, IOC container is responsible to perform dependency injection in our applications. Whatever the project you are developing, for that project, dependency injection will be taken care by IOC container. That a dependency injection also we can perform in 3 ways. One is by using setter injection. Second one is by using constructor injection. Third one is by using field injection. But here, we will tell to IOC container to perform the dependency injection by using auto wiring concept. Auto wiring is used to enable dependency injection. Auto wiring is used to enable, or we can say it is used to perform dependency injection. So to perform dependency injection, to perform DI with the auto wiring, we will use @auto-void annotation. What is the annotation available, guys? @auto-void annotation is available, which is used to perform the dependency injection. This annotation we can use at 3 places: setter method level, constructor level, variable level also. Auto-void annotation we can use at 3 places in our program. Okay, one is at setter method level, another one is at the constructor level, another one is at the field level. Field is nothing but variable. If you use auto-void annotation at the setter method level, which is called as setter injection. If you use it at the constructor, which is called constructor injection. If you use it at the variable, that is called as field injection. Are you clear with my point? Now can you tell me, what is IOC container in the Spring, guys? What is IOC container in the Spring? IOC is responsible to perform dependency injection. So in our project, multiple classes will be available. One class should talk to another class. Instead of we are creating the object for the classes, we are going to use IOC container to perform the object creation. Instead of programmer is creating object for the class, we will take the help of IOC container to create the object. IOC container is performing the component scanning. It is loading the classes. It is identifying the Spring Beans. It is creating the objects. It can perform dependency injection also. Without IOC container, there is no use of Spring framework. Is there any use of Spring without IOC container? No. Everything is taken care by IOC container in the Spring framework. IOC is a principle which is responsible to manage dependencies among the objects. Responsible to manage dependencies among the objects in our application. It will take care of dependency injection. What is the meaning of dependency injection? Come on. What is the meaning of dependency injection? Injecting one class object into another class object is called as dependency injection. How many ways we can perform the dependency injection? 3 ways. Setter, constructor, field. To perform the dependency injection in the Spring, XML file is available. But in the Spring Boot, there is no XML. Everything is based on annotations only in the Spring Boot. So what is the annotation to perform the dependency injection? Auto-wired annotation. By using this auto-wiring, we can perform dependency injection. How many places we can use the auto-wired annotation? 3 places we can use. One is called setter, second one is called constructor, third one is called field injection. Is this clear for everybody? Can we develop one project on this now? Auto-wiring. Okay. And whatever the examples I am doing now, I will store my examples into GitHub repository. Now you know what is GitHub repository. You know how to store the code into GitHub. Okay. So another 1 or 2 days, next day, tomorrow and day after tomorrow. By this Sunday, you will become expert in the GitHub. So every example that I am developing in the class, I will store in the GitHub repository. How to work with the GitHub, we are learning in the 7 o'clock tools classes. Maven completed, GitHub is running now. Don't miss the tools classes, guys. Very important. Next up. Go here. Let me create one project. File, new, starter project. Why I am using STS IDE to create the boot application? Easy. Directly you can create the project. If it's IntelliJ, download the project, extract, import, lot of work we need to do. Directly you can create the project by using STS IDE. Okay, file, new, Spring, starter project. Now, let me create my project with a name called Auto Wiring. I'm giving the project name as Auto Wiring. Click on Next. Maven is a build tool. Packaging is jar. Java 17. Language is Java. Group ID, artifact ID, version is available. Package, base package I am using. Click on Next. 3.3.2, latest version of the Spring Boot. Can you see snapshot? What is the meaning of snapshot? Under development. That version is not released into the production. It is snapshot means under development. So what is the stable version? 3.3.2. Do we need any dependency now? Not required. Why? Because we are developing a basic Spring applications only. Click on Next, click on Finish. So with this, my project got created. With this, my project got created. Go to pom.xml file. You can check in the pom.xml. Am I adding any dependency or default dependencies are coming? I'm adding any dependency or default dependencies are coming? Default dependencies are coming. Boot starter is coming. Test starter is also coming. Okay, fine. Now, go to this one. Start class is available. This is available in this package. Can I call it as a base package? So in which package our start class is available? That is called as a base package. Can you tell me what is a start class? What is start class? The Java class which is used as entry point for our application is called as start class. So the Spring Boot application execution will start from the start class. Where is the main logic available for the boot application execution? Run method. Lot of things will happen in the run method. Who will start the IOC container? Who will print the banner? Who will call the runner? Everything will be taken care by run method. Then what is this annotation? What is the purpose of that? Auto configuration, configuration, auto configuration, component scanning. What is component scanning? Load the Spring Beans into IOC. How to represent a Java class as a Spring Bean? @ component. What is at the rate bean? Method level. If you want to create the object on your own, then you can go for bean. I want IOC to create the object component. When to go for configuration? To represent the bean methods. To represent the bean methods. What is auto wiring? What is auto wiring? To perform the dependency injection. How many ways we can perform the dependency injection? Three ways. Setter, constructor, field. Okay. Let me run the project. Run as boot application. Go to console. Yes, application started. Why server is not starting? Why Tomcat is not coming? There is no web starter. There is no web starter. So if you add web starter, then only Tomcat will come. Okay, perfect. Now let me create one class. Okay, I'm creating one class with a name called user service. User service. Use proper package name. Dot service package I'm using. Okay, package names we need to follow properly. In dot Ashok IT base package. In dot Ashok IT dot service sub package for the base package. Okay, I'm storing this one. Let us write one method public void save user. Public void save user is available. Or else let me do one thing. Create one more class called DAO. New class. I'm creating a class with a name called user DAO. DAO nothing but data access object. Now let us write a constructor user DAO. System.out.println just user DAO constructor to understand whether object is created or not. User service. Now let us write one constructor system.out.println. I'm going to represent user service constructor. Now run the application. Run as boot application. Objects are created or not created? Not created. Why? Why not created? Because these are normal Java classes. Can we make them as Spring Beans? How?
Yes.
Annotation.
Component.
What is that?
Component.
At the rate component. Now let us use a service at the rate component. So I'm representing these classes as my Spring Beans. If I represent as a Spring Bean, what is the advantage? IOC container will take care of the object creation. Okay, go to the start class, run as boot application. Now, DAO constructor, service constructor. Objects are created by IOC. What is the scope of these beans? What is the scope of these beans? Singleton. Why singleton? Default. I am not specifying the scope. Then it will go with the default scope. Default scope is a singleton. That means only one object will be created. Is this clear? Very good. Next one. I want to write one method in the user DAO. I want to write one method in the user DAO. Currently, database logic I am not writing. Forget about it. User DAO is available. I am writing one method public string get a name. I'm taking integer ID as a parameter. Public string get name is available. Get username, or I can say public string find username. Find username by ID. I'm writing one method, public method, which is returning string taking ID as a parameter. So now I will write the logic. If ID is equal to 1, then I will return name as Raju. Okay. Else if ID is equal to 2, then let us return the name as Rani. Something like this. Okay. If you give any other ID, then I will say that invalid ID. Okay. Return invalid ID. Just one. We don't have a database. That's why some dummy logic I'm writing in my method. User DAO available. In the user DAO, I'm writing one method. Find username by ID. It is taking ID as a parameter. It is returning string as a return type. If ID is equal to 1, return the name as Raju. If ID is equal to 2, return the name as Rani. If not 1 and 2, Then I'm going to return this one as invalid ID. Now go to user service. In the user service, I'm writing one method, public void get name method. Public void get name method. My service class wants to talk to DAO class. User service available. I have my user service. I have my user DAO. User DAO class is available and user service class is available. User service class wants to talk to user DAO method. Okay, then what is required? If a service wants to call the DAO method, DAO object should be injected into service. So here we need to inject the object. Once the object is injected, then we can call the method. Okay, you inject the object, DAO object you inject into service. Then service method can call the DAO method. This process is called dependency injection. As a programmer, I am responsible for dependency injection. IOC container responsible for dependency injection. I am responsible or IOC is responsible. IOC container is responsible for dependency injection. For doing the dependency injection, I will take the variable private user DAO. I'm going to take user DAO object. Okay, I'm taking a variable. Now, IOC container should initialize the variable. Okay, user DAO dot find username by ID. So that ID I'm taking as this method parameter. Service method taking ID as a parameter. I am passing that ID as a parameter to DAO method. DAO method will return name as a return type. I will print that name on the console. This is my application. I have a service. Inside the service, there is a method called getName method is available. Inside the service, getName method is available. This getName method is going to call findName method. DAO class is having one method, service class is having one method. Now my service class method should talk to DAO class method. For that, for the DAO, I'm taking a variable in the service. So using this variable, I'm calling the DAO method. Is this clear now? Good. Now go to start class. Now I want to get the target object. I want to call the target method. So which is the target? Which is the dependent here? Which is the target? Which is the dependent? As a programmer, I need to call the service method. As a programmer, I need to call the service method. So service is my target. Service is the dependent on the DAO. Okay, I need to get the target object. I need to call the target method. Then my target method will call the dependent method. Okay, now how to get the target object? How to get the object? First of all, who is managing the target and dependent? I am managing, IOC managing them. IOC container managing them. IOC container will load the classes. IOC container will create the object. How to get the object from the IOC? First of all, who will start the IOC? Come on, man. Who will start the IOC? Run method. How to get the IOC? I want the IOC object. Get bean method will give the bean object. I want IOC.
Application
Who will
context.
return the IOC for you? Run method. Run method is creating the IOC container. Run method will give you the IOC container. Okay. Take the IOC container object, which is a configurable application context. Now, once you got the IOC container, can you get your bean object from the IOC? Can you get the bean object from the IOC? Yes, come on. How to get the bean object from the IOC?
Get bean.
Yes, context dot. Online people are responding better than offline people. They keep on responding. I can hear their voice.
That used to get the application.
Sorry?
What is the Shortcut that's
Level
used.
of application.
What is the shortcut I'm using? Control 1
Yeah.
enter.
Okay.
I
Okay,
have
sir.
given the shortcut video.
Okay, sir.
Control 1 enter. I'm getting the return type of the method. Okay. So
Okay, sir.
run method is returning configurable application context object. Now I want to get the object from the IOC container. How to get the object from the IOC container? Context dot get bean. Context dot get bean. Now, so context dot get bean method, which object you want? Target object or dependent object? Target. Here, our target is service, and this target is depends on. This target is depends on user DAO. Now I want to get the target object. To get the target object, we are going to use get bean method user service dot class. User service dot class. Now, what is the return type? User service bean I am getting. I'm getting the use service bean. Use service bean I am getting user service. Now, let me call use service dot get name by passing ID. I'm calling get name method by passing ID. So here my start class is available. Start class is having a main method. Inside the main method, we are calling the run method. Run method is starting the IOC container, giving the IOC container for us. Using that IOC container, we are getting the target object. Using the target object, we are calling the target bean method. Target bean method is calling the dependent bean method. What is the dependent bean? User DAO. If I execute this program, what is the output?
Null pointer exception.
Raju or Rani or null pointer exception?
Null pointer
Exception.
Null
We are going to
pointer.
get the null pointer exception as the output. Why we are getting null pointer exception as the output? Dependency injection not happen.
Not happen.
So this variable is not initialized. Now, can I debug the program now? Can I debug the program? How to debug? Keep a breakpoint. I'm keeping a breakpoint. How to debug?
Debug as
All these things are developer techniques. As a developer, you need to write the code and you need to test that code. You need to debug. Writing the code is not your duty, just not your duty. Along with that coding, you need to test also. You need to debug also. You need to test. You need to debug. Lot of things you need to do when you want to work in the real time. And you should know how to do the deployments also. You are developing web applications. Your web application will run in the local host. But how to access your web application in the internet? www.gmail.com, www.google.com, facebook.com. How that application will come in the internet? How many of you know how to deploy your web application in the internet? No.
AWS.
99% of the developers don't know. You will develop a web application. In the servlet, you developed a web application. In the JSP, you developed a web application. In the Spring Boot, we will develop the web application. How to access your application? What is the meaning of web application? Multiple people can access your web application at a time. At a time. Okay. How your application can be accessed by multiple people at a time? It should be on the internet. How to keep your application in the internet?
in servers.
Do you know the deployment?
We need to deploy the application in a server, and the user
This
has
is the
IP
tool.
address.
URL
If we take
for that
3
particular.
to 4 years, genuine experienced people also in the IT companies who are having 3 to 4 years, 5 years genuine experienced people also, out of 100, 95 to 98 people don't know how to keep web application in the internet. How to keep web application in the internet, 95% of the developers don't know. Companies are expecting all-rounders. All-rounders means from the development to till delivery. What is the meaning of delivery? Can you give the source code to the client? Your web application developed. I'm running in my system, localhost colon 8080 working. Can you take the code? Can you give the code to the client?
No, sir.
No.
We need to package
You need to deliver. Deliver means you need to give the URL to them. That is called the delivery. How to create the URL for the project? That is a biggest doubt. Tomorrow, generally, when I'm taking the interviews, we need to find out whether that person is a genuine experience or fake experience. How much time it will take? 10 seconds is sufficient to decide whether that person coming to the interview with the fake experience or genuine experience. Within 10 seconds, I can identify. I will just ask a question. Can you tell me how to deploy web application to the live? You are gone. In the Amirpet, localhost :8080. But how to access that application in the live environment? Those things are called operations. Now you know DevOps is there in the market, right? Operations. So in the company, development team will be available. Operations team also will be available. Development team, operations team will be available. You will do the development. They will do the operations. Operations means taking the project from the GitHub. We have seen GitHub today. You will write the code. You will write the code. You will store your code in the GitHub. Then DevOps people will take the code from the GitHub. They will compile. They will package the code by using Maven. They will deploy the code into server by using Jenkins. After deploying the code to the Jenkins, we will get the IP address of the application. That IP address we need to map to the domain. Those things will be taken care by operations team. Yesterday, what we have done is, guys, you are using Ashok IT website, right? You are seeing our website. Actually, this website is developed by using PHP. 3-4 years back, when I am starting the institute, at that time, I don't have the resources to develop one complete, I don't have that much time basically. So I was starting the institute in the COVID situation. In 2020, Corona, first wave of the Corona, we started the institute. At that time, I don't have time. I'm doing job, institute, new institute, setup, lot of time. So I have taken the help of one of the student only. In our institute, only one student joined for Spring Boot. He was working on the PHP. Then he want to join as a Java developer in the company. There is no growth in the PHP. He want to switch to the Java. He joined for my Spring Boot course. Ashok IT first batch is Spring Boot. He joined in that. Then he told me, sir, for Ashok IT, you are teaching Spring Boot classes. Excellent class. I have attended Spring Boot training from you. I want to give you one small gift for you. There is no website for Ashok IT. I will create a website for Ashok IT, sir, by using PHP. He developed that PHP website initially. But today, when I want to make some changes in the website, I don't know PHP. He developed in the PHP 4 years back. He gave me the PHP website. If I want to make some changes, I need to ask that person every time. He married, he's having some kids, he's doing the job also. He can't do the work every day for us, right? Then what I have done? If it is in the PHP, it is difficult for me to manage the things every day. If I want to make some changes, it is difficult for me. That's why what I have done, after 2 years of time, I redeveloped that project in the Java. By using Spring Boot, I have developed it. That Spring Boot project, I have started 1 year back. Developing the project by using Spring Boot with microservices, front-end Angular. Yesterday, my project completed. Still, in the production, it is not there. Whatever you are seeing now, this is a PHP website only. My Java project is ready. I have not deployed it. I have to deploy that project. Yesterday, I have done the deployment of the project also. It took 7 hours for me to take one Linux machine in the cloud, deploy the Java application in the Linux, deploy the Angular application in the Linux, integrate Angular application with the Java backend application. Then 2 IPs are available. Angular IP is available, Java IP is available, port numbers are available. Map it to the domain. It is taking a lot of time. But as I know that, I know DevOps also. That's why I'm able to deploy the project on my own. But as a developer, are you able to do such kind of deployments on your own? They will ask that in the interview. I have taken a new domain. Whatever the domain you are seeing, ashokitech.com is available. Now, I have taken another domain, ashokid.in. So if you access that domain, welcome to Ashokid is coming. My Angular application is ready. I need to upload the files. Yesterday, I have taken a domain. I mapped my application to the domain. Now I need to upload my Angular. What is this one? Can you see here? What application it is? I have deployed Angular application to the production and I mapped my application to the domain. It took 7 hours of time. It took 7 hours of time. As a developer, you know such kind of operations also. Not only development plus tools plus operations also you should know. My application is running in the Angular now. That Angular is front end. Back end is Java Spring Boot. Now I think I have done the deployment also. Back end and front end. Let me access it. Yesterday, I was not able to take the class because of this reason only. Yeah, still now the service is unavailable. My server is down. I need to check why my server is going down. The Linux machine. In that Linux machine, I had deployed my application. I need to check what is wrong in that. Actually, when I hit that IP address, my application should be up and running. It is going down. I need to check that. So yesterday, I was in the meeting with the domain people to purchase a domain, map the domain to my application. I was having a meeting with the GoDaddy people yesterday. That is the reason I was not able to take the class. So as a developer, you should know all these things also. How to deploy the application to the production, how to deliver the application to the client, how to map the application to the URL. All these things you should know. Got my point? So if you learn all the tools, then you can do these kind of deployments also. Right. We are accessing your website, you are getting money. For a website, we will not get the money. Whenever you access my website, I will not get the money. When you will get the money? When I will get the money? In my website, if I display some ads, if you are accessing my website, I will not get any money. I'm providing a service. You are seeing what are the courses available, that's it. If you want to get the money from the website, you need to display ads on the website. If you display ads on the website, then only money will come to me. Can you see any ad on our website? If there is no ad, there is no money. So this is not to generate the money. This is to provide the service to the people. Okay. You should know how to generate the revenue in online. So in my website, if I display some ads, if you click on the ad, then I will get the money. Have you seen ad on the Ashok IT website? No, it's not. It will not be there. We are not here to display ads. We are using our website to display the courses for you. Okay. Some student is misunderstanding. Okay, good. So we are understanding what is dependency injection and why we started this one. Yeah, as a developer, you need to test also and you need to deploy also, right? We are doing the coding. That's fine. After this, so many things are there in the industry: testing, debugging, deployment, domain mapping, delivery. The complete SDLC process you should know. The complete SDLC process you should know. So we told you Java real-time project. In that project, we are going to do all these things: development, testing, deployment, delivery, domain mapping, DevOps, Linux, AWS. That's why that is called real-time project. Real-time project means complete end-to-end project we are going to develop. We will deploy, we will deliver. So once you do that real-time project, when you go for the interview, that is difficult for the people to identify whether you are a fake or genuine, because you will tell all the real-time scenarios, whatever you have done in your course, right? Now, I want to debug my application now. I want to debug my application. So keep a breakpoint. Let us right click. Let us right click on this debug as Spring Boot application. Breakpoint is there. I'm starting my project in the debug mode. So then my code will execute line by line. How to go for next line? F6. Okay. Now IOC container started. Can you see objects are created? Eager loading or lazy loading? Eager loading. Objects are created. Go for getBean method. GetBean is our method or predefined method? No need to debug that. Framework methods already tested. They are working. No need to debug. We need to debug our method. I'm getting throat pain today. Yeah, we no need to debug the framework method, guys. We need to debug our method. Go to F6. Yes, get name, my method. Go inside that. Go inside that. Yes, I came inside my method. Line number 17. Service method calling the DAO method. Check the DAO variable. What is there? Null. That means dependency injection not happened. Dependency injection not happened. As the dependency injection not performed by IOC container, my DAO holding a null value. That's why it is giving null pointer exception. Now F6, it is failing. It is failing because of null value. I got the null pointer exception. IOC container creating the objects. IOC container creating the objects and IOC container giving the objects, but IOC container not performing the dependency injection. IOC container created the object, IOC container but not performing the dependency injection. Are you able to understand my point? Yes. We are able to understand what is the problem. Now, I want to tell IOC container to perform the dependency injection by using auto wiring. What is the purpose of auto wiring? To perform the dependency injection. I will tell to IOC container to perform the dependency injection. It can perform dependency injection in 3 ways: setter, constructor, field. First, let me go for field injection. Let me go for field injection. Now, to perform field injection, we will write the annotation at the variable level. That annotation is auto void. So whenever I write auto void annotation at the variable level, IOC container will initialize this variable with the DAO object. IOC container will store the user DAO object into this variable. What is the modifier of this variable? Private. Can we access private variables outside of the class? Then how IOC can access? Do I have setter method? Do I have constructor? How many people will say that we cannot access private methods outside of the class? I mean, private variables outside of the class. Yes or no? Can I access private variables outside of the class, or I cannot access private variables outside of the class? We cannot?
Access.
Come on.
Cannot access.
We cannot
Cannot
access. Can we do one bet now? Can we do one bet? I will access private variable outside of the class. Yeah. What is the bet amount? Anybody want to bet? Online students?
No, sir.
No?
No,
sir.
Let us see here. I'm creating one Java project for you. A dummy Java project I'm creating. Okay. Demo. I have created one Java project, guys. Forget about Spring Boot. Forget about IOC. Forget about dependency injection. Come back to OOPS concepts. Private variable. So the variable which is declared as a private cannot access outside of the class. Okay. I'm creating one new Java class here. New class. I'm creating class with a package name in.ashokit. Class name I'm taking as user.
Might be with the help of this thing.
Wait. Private integer age. Private integer age. Okay. I'm writing one method, public void print age. Okay. system dot out dot println age. Right. I have taken one class. Inside the class, there is a variable called age variable. Data type is integer, modifier is private. And I am writing one method, public void print age method. What is the purpose of this method? When I call this method, it should print the value of the variable. Am I initializing the variable? No. If I don't initialize, what is the default value? 0. Primitive type, right? Int 0. 0 is the output. Okay. Let me go and create one class with a name called test class. Create a class called test class. Inside the test class, I'm taking one main method. I'm taking one main method. User is equal to new user dot print age. User dot print age. Okay. Run as Java application. What is the age now? 0. Okay, fine. Can I initialize that variable? User.age is equal to some 10. Able to access the variable, not able to access the variable. Not able to access the variable. Why? Because it is a private. Private variable we cannot access outside of the class. So this is the proof. By creating object, I'm trying to access private variable, but I am not able to access because of the private modifier. Okay, your answer is correct. We cannot access private variable outside of the class like this. But I will not do like this. I will not do like this. Remove this code. Now, let me write the logic to access private variable outside of the class. Okay. So what I will prove is age variable not initialized. Whenever I create the object, default value will be available 0. 0 is coming as a output. I will print age as 30. I will set the value as 30 for the age variable. I will access that variable now. So let me remove this code. Let me write one method, class.forName. There is a class available in the JDBC you have used, class.forName. What is the purpose of class.forName? To load the class into JVM. I want to load the class called user. So user class is available in a package in.ashokid.user. That's it. So it is giving some exception. Let me go with throws exception. Class.forName. The user class is loading into the JVM. The forName method will give object, that is a class object. The class object I am getting. Once I get the class object, now by using this one, by using this, I will do the typecasting. I will do the typecasting and I will do here class dot get declared field. What is the variable available there? Age. What is the variable? Age. So I'm loading user class into JVM by using class.forName. I got the class object. Class dot get a declared field age variable. Which variable you want to access? Which variable you want to access? You call the method get a declared field of age. It is going to return field object. What it is returning, guys? It is returning the field object. Now I will typecast it. Object obj is equal to object of class. Whatever the class object we got, na, or whatever the object we got, we are typecasting that to object here. Once we are done this one, whatever the variable you want to access, field dot set accessible to true. Whatever the variable is available, I'm loading that variable by using get declared field. Then I'm setting field accessible to true. Then field dot set object comma the value I'm setting as 30. Field dot set object comma 30 I am setting. Now I'm going to do this. User u is equal to user. I'm typecasting. User u is equal to user of obj, or else let me do like this. Field dot obj dot get declared field, whatever the object I am getting, that is user class, class dot forName. Sorry. Class dot declare field. Once I typecast it, I'm setting the value for that object. Then I will do the typecasting. User is equal to new user of obj. Then I will call user dot get age, print age. Yeah. So what I am calling here, user dot print age. What is it is doing? Printing the age. What is the value available for the age? Default 0. If I print age as 30, can I say variable is initialized? If I print the value as 30, can I say variable is initialized? Yes. Cannot set user to the java.lang.class.
Sir, new instance method, sir, new instance.
Class dot new instance. 1 minute. No. Yes. Are we able to access the age as 30? Yes, that means, am I able to modify value of the age variable? Age variable does not having any value, which is having default value, which is 0. From outside of the user class, I'm setting the value as 30. When I call this method, 30 is printing. If I am printing 30, can I say that value is modified? That variable is initialized from outside of the class. This is a private variable. Am I able to access outside? How I am accessing the private variable outside? This is the logic. This logic is called reflection API logic. I'm using one concept called reflection concept. By using the reflection concept, we can access private variables also outside of the class. This is the proof.
Sir,
Able
can
to
we
understand?
sir, can we do same thing using setter and getter method? Using setter method, I can set that value.
Yes, creating the object. By using setter method, you can directly do that. Setter method, generally you will write setter method, getter method to set the value, to get the value from outside.
Right.
But without setter method, am I able to access the variable?
Yeah. Okay.
Do I have any setter method here?
No.
Without setter method, am I able to initialize the value to the variable? How I
No,
am
sir.
initializing the variable without setter method? By using reflection API. So what
Okay.
I am doing here, I am doing class.forName. What is the purpose of class.forName? To load the class into JVM. In that class, there is a variable called age variable. How to load the variable from the class directly? Declared field method, which is giving the field object. That field is a private. To access the private variable, what I am doing? Field dot set accessible to true. We are able to set the variable accessible outside. Then we got the class, right? User class. For user class, I'm creating the object by using new instance method. I got the object. That object I'm typecasting into user object. After typecasting to the user object, field dot set. For this age variable, you set the value as 30. So that means here setting value to variable. Private variable value. For the private variable, I'm setting the value from outside of the class by using reflection API. So what is the proof to say that I'm setting the value? When I call the print age method, age is printing as 30. That means the age variable is initialized with the 30. Now go to the test class, run as Java application. Can you see age as 30 now? Let me change the age to 25. Setting the variable value as 25. Run as Java application. Can you see age is 25? So can I access private variables outside of the class? Directly
Yes,
not
yes.
possible. But by using reflection API, it is possible.
Sir,
Are you
if
able
it
to
is,
follow me?
if we have more than one variable means for
For every
every
variable, you
private
need to write the
variable,
logic like this.
for every variable I need to write this type of logic only, no,
Yes,
sir?
for every variable you have to write. If you have multiple variables, You need to write these 2 lines of code and you need to write this 1 line of code.
So this is regarding the RTM which you have raised for Oracle 8 and Java 17. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So basically,
Yeah, guys, so with this we are able to understand how to access private variables outside of the class by using reflection API. That means private variables we can initialize from outside of the class without setter method, without constructor also. In my user class, do I have a setter method? Do I have a constructor? How I am
Yes.
initializing this variable from outside? By using reflection API. If you are doing like this logic is called as field injection. Why I explain this logic? To tell you field injection. IOC container performing the field injection whenever you use auto wiring annotation at the variable level. Now you see user service. What is this variable? Private variable. Do I have setter method for this variable? Do I have constructor for this variable? Then how IOC will store user DAO object into this DAO variable now? By using reflection API. Whenever you use @auto-void annotation in the background, IOC container will execute the logic like this. This is called field injection. Are you able to follow me? So tell me, what is a field injection?
What is the use of question mark, sir, in the class?
What is the field
mark?
injection now? The process of injecting dependent object into target variable directly. The process of injecting dependent bean object into target bean variable directly is called field injection. People may ask a question. Your target class variable is a private variable now. How IOC container will store the value to this variable from outside? In the background, reflection API is executing. So before explaining the auto wiring at the field level, I have explained one normal Java program. We are able to prove that user class age variable is a private variable. That age variable I am accessing in the test class. Private variable I am accessing outside of the class. I am storing the value for that by using reflection API. Whatever the logic I am writing, this logic will be taken care by IOC container when you perform field injection. When you write auto-void annotation at the variable level, what will happen internally? In the interview, some people will say that when you use auto wiring, IOC will call setter method. IOC will call constructor. But use your brain. Do I have setter method in the class? Do I have constructor in the class? No. Then how IOC will call setter? There is no setter method at all. There is no constructor. IOC will directly store the value to your variable. Your variable is a private variable. How the IOC will store the value to private variable from outside? That's where reflection API comes into picture. This is the proof. I'm loading user class. I'm getting object. I'm getting private variable. I'm setting true for accessing the private variable. Here, I'm setting the value to the private variable. Our age variable is a int value. So I'm storing 25 as a value. Now, if you go to user service, what is this DAO variable type? User DAO. What IOC will do now? IOC will take user DAO object, will store into DAO variable by using reflection API, which is called field injection in the Spring framework. If you use auto-wired annotation at the variable level, even though if your variable is a private variable, IOC container will initialize your variable to store the object. So dependent object is storing into target object by using field injection. Are you clear with my point? Now, earlier, when I don't write this annotation, DAO is having a null value. I got the null pointer exception. Now, go to our test class and run this again, debug this program again. Start class is available. Right click, debug as boot application. Okay, breakpoint is available. Go to the next line. Now, IOC started. What is the meaning of that? Objects are created, eager loading. getBean method. What is the purpose of getBean method? To load the object. F6 user service object I got. Then go to get name method. Go to get name F5 DAO. Still, what is the value? Null. Dependency injection happened or not happened? Not happened. Why? There is no auto wiring. So DAO is a null. Null dot method. Null pointer exception. You are getting null pointer exception. How to avoid null pointer exception now? Dependency injection. How to perform dependency injection? Auto wiring. If you go for Spring, XML will be available. But in the Spring Boot, XML is there or XML not there? Everything is annotation. So to perform the dependency injection, what is annotation? Auto wiring. At what places I can use auto wiring? Variable level, setter level, constructor level. I'm using at the variable level. If I use this annotation at the variable level, what is the meaning of that? Field injection. Inject the dependent object into this field directly. Take the dependent object and inject into this variable directly. That is called field injection. But you may get a question. Ashok, in our core Java whoops concepts, we learned private variables cannot be accessed outside of the class. So my variable is a private variable. How IOC will access our variable to store the object? What is the answer?
Reflection
What is the
API.
answer? IOC container using reflection API internally. So what is the question? Can we access private variable outside of the class? What is the answer? If you are learning just core Java basic concepts, then answer is no. If you are advanced programmer, if you are good in the Java, then answer is yes. Using reflection API, we can access that. So here, as a programmer, I'm able to access it. Same logic is there in the IOC also one program. I am writing test program to access user variable, age variable in the test class. Similarly, IOC also one Java program. IOC container will use reflection API, which will access our private variable, which will inject dependent object into our private variable, which is called field injection. So if you use auto wiring at the variable level, that is called field injection. Are you clear with my point? So understanding field injection is easy. If you use annotation at the variable level, field injection will happen. But what we need to learn internally, how it is working. Internally, how it is working. I hope you got the clarity. How field injection working in the background. How field injection working in the background?
Reflection, sir.
By using reflection API, it is injecting dependent object into target object variable directly. Okay. Now, so without this annotation, DAO null pointer exception. Now go to application. Now right click, debug as, boot application. I will run in the debug mode. IOC container started. IOC container started. User service object I got. IOC container created the object. I got the object. Go inside the method. Go inside the method. Now, DAO, null or object? Initialized. DAO variable initialized with the DAO object. Programmer initialized. IOC initialized. IOC container initialized. How it initialized? It is a private variable now. Reflection API. Now I am calling DAO method. I hope you got the clarity. What is the dependency injection? How to perform dependency injection with auto wiring? And especially, what is the field injection? How field injection will work in the background? Right. Now go inside the DAO method. Okay. What is the ID I got? 1. Then what will happen? Return Raju. I got the name as Raju. So with this, can I say my service method is calling the DAO method? By using auto wiring, we are injecting DAO object into service. Service is calling the DAO. In the project, this is very common scenario. One class should talk to another class. Controller should talk to service. Service should talk to DAO. If a service wants to talk to DAO, DAO object should be injected into service. For that, we are using auto wiring. What is auto wiring? What is auto wiring? To perform dependency injection, we will use auto wiring. So to work with auto wiring, what is the annotation? @auto wide annotation. Where we can use that annotation? Field level, setter level, constructor level. Where we are using today? Field level. So if I use field level, what will happen in the background? Directly it will access our private variable, will store the dependent object, which is called field injection. Is this clear? Anybody not able to understand? That is a
Uh,
Lombok.
Class question mark means what does it mean, sir?
Lombok.
Class question
No,
mark.
that is different. Lombok is used to generate setters and getters for the variables.
Sir, what is the main difference between new and dependency injection? Because sir, both are
Sir,
work
here
with the same.
people are asking, what is this question mark? Whenever I am writing the test class na, this question mark is a generic type, guys. What class we are loading na? If you don't know what is the class exactly, then you can keep the generic. Generic means any type of class.
Okay,
Right.
sir. Okay.
No. Is there
The
any
class
setter
T
method?
also we can use, sir. Class T also we can use, or question mark only.
No. Question marks are generic type we need to give for that.
Okay,
Offline
sir.
people, give me 1 minute. Let me clarify online people doubts. Hey guys, anybody
Sir.
having question on the field injection?
Sir, if we are using getter and setter methods, will the strategy change for the
Yes, sir.
IoT controller?
If I use this annotation at the setter method level, strategy will change. If I use constructor level, strategy will change.
We need to decide, no, sir?
Yeah,
Where
that we will configure. Whether you want to go for field injection or setter injection, constructor injection, you can decide. Today I am using field injection. Tomorrow I will go with the setter and constructor. Then we will compare which one is better. You got my point? We are understanding fundamentals now. That's it.
In order to decide that what is the criteria, any particular criteria is there.
कल बोलूंगा भाई. कल बताता हूँ. Comparison
Right,
we
sir.
will see tomorrow.
Sir,
What is setter? What is constructor? What is field? When to go for which one? We will discuss in the tomorrow's class.
sir,
Today
what is,
topic, what is field injection? How it is working? Is it possible to access private variables outside of the class? I have proved that.
Sir, one doubt. Sir,
Yeah.
we are using AutoWare and
Yeah.
we are not doing anything like in configure level, we are not doing anything. Then after that, it is injecting.
Correct, sir. This annotation will take care of that injection. You don't need to do any configuration.
Yeah, that is
This
correct.
annotation is equal for configuration.
Yeah, I got, sir. My doubt is, sir, background which injection it is doing?
Field injection, sir.
Okay.
Field injection. Field may already in variable. In that variable, it is going to inject the object. That is called field injection.
Okay.
So,
Sir, reflection API, it is doing field injection.
Can you come again, sir?
Sir, using reflection API, that injection is doing.
Using reflection API, it is doing that. Correct, sir.
Okay.
sir, what is the main difference between new and dependency injection? Because sir, both had same work. Like we can also do with new operator also. So why we need AutoWire and
Sir,
and what?
you create the object now, classes will be tightly coupled. Sir, you should not create the objects directly. That's why we will go for dependency injection.
Okay.
If you create the object now, in our project,
Yes.
10,000 classes will be available. You need to create 10,000 objects manually. That will take a lot of time.
Okay.
So that's why we will go with the auto wiring. So IOC container will create the object for our classes.
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
So, do I have to prepare for this reflection API or if
No,
I
sir,
do
you no
this
need to do
auto
that, sir. IOC container will take care of the reflection API. Just to understand how it is working, I have explained this logic.
But sir, in interview, if they ask me this, then
you
I
should
have
know.
to
This is
prepare?
very basic program, right? You can prepare this.
Okay, sir.
So,
yeah.
So we have used the suppress warnings here, right? Is it for deprecated methods?
Yeah, deprecated methods, correct. Yes, guys, you understand this one line of code?
Sir.
So today what we learned?
Hello.
One line. What is that one line? @auto wiring. What is happening in the background? Okay. So this is framework, the power of the framework. Everything is abstraction in the framework. So this is abstraction. So in the interview, they will ask you where you have used abstraction, auto wiring. If I use this one annotation in the background, lot of logic is executing, which is given by the framework. Now understand the reality. you are struggling to use the framework. Think about the people who developed the framework. Tomorrow, if they come for the interview, will you get the job? Will you get the job if those people come for the interview? No. So you are 1 hour of time we are taking to understand one line of code. In that one line, when you use, in the background 100 lines of code will execute. In the market, there are people who developed those 100 lines of code, who developed frameworks. So developing the framework is very, very, very difficult. You need to be at next level to develop a framework. We are struggling to use the framework. Are you getting the reality? Two types of developers. Who will develop the framework? Who will use the framework? We are belongs to which category? Using the framework. There are people who are developing the framework. So lot of difference is there. That is the reason why people are not getting the jobs. No creativity, no communication, no technical skills, no practical implementations. We are understanding subject, and that subject, to practice that subject, we are failing. We are not able to use the framework properly. And in the market, some people developed that framework. Now compare your Java skill, their Java skill. Is it comparable, first of all? No. So you need to learn a lot, man. You need to learn a lot. If you want to survive as a programmer, you need to be in the position to develop a framework. Then you can survive in the industry. Companies are expecting the people who can create such kind of frameworks. You should be developing some software that is a reusable software. Framework is a reusable software. What is the meaning of reusable software? Multiple people can use that to develop their projects. Are you clear with my point? Yes. Any questions for offline people? So what will you learn today?
So basically, these product-based companies will create their own frameworks, right, sir?
Auto wiring. We learned what? Auto wiring. So when I was working for Deloitte company, we developed a framework called Fast4J. We have Hibernate framework, right? What is the purpose of Hibernate? To communicate with the database. When you go for the Deloitte, I worked for Deloitte company for 4 years. When I was in the Deloitte, we developed our own framework called Fast4J. It is like a Hibernate only. Deloitte people don't want to use the Hibernate framework. They want to use their own framework to communicate with the database. So in my 4 years of time, I developed one framework called Fast4J that is used only in the Deloitte company. Framework development is very important. Why companies will develop their own frameworks? Customer locking. Suppose if a Deloitte company develop a project by using Hibernate framework and Spring framework, company project will be completed, client will take the code. Tomorrow, if Deloitte charging more money for the maintenance, what client will do? Client will take the code, give to other company for the maintenance purpose. Hibernate everybody knows in the market. Okay, Hibernate everybody knows in the market. So Deloitte is dealing with a client, guys. Understand what is the funda in the market. So there is one client, assume that is from USA. That a client came to Deloitte company to develop a project. Okay, Deloitte people developed this project by using Spring framework or Spring Boot framework by using Hibernate. Okay, project completed 3 years of time. 3 years of time, project completed, project budget 10 CR, 10 crores, project completed, project delivered to the client. Deloitte delivered that project to the client. Now, client is getting some new requirements. Client want to add the new functionality. Client is not a technical person, he is a business person. Then client should come to the Deloitte company for the main initially agreement. Within 3 years, project will be completed. 10 crores is the budget for the project. Company developed it delivered to the client. Now client want new functionalities in the project. Client want changes in the project. Then client will go to Deloitte. Deloitte will tell, for every new functionality, if you want us to change the functionality per hour, you pay $50 per us. Whatever the new changes you are having per hour, you pay $50 for the developers, then we will change the functionality in the project. Client will ask that, I will not pay $30, I will pay only $20. Deloitte will say, no, for $20 we don't do the changes. If you pay $50 per hour, then only we will do the changes. Then what client will do? Go to TCS. Go to TCS. TCS people, okay, per hour $20 we will do it. Because that project is developed by using Hibernate, Spring Boot. There are so many people in the market who can work on Hibernate and Spring Boot. Then what is the effect for the Deloitte now? They are losing the customer. They are losing the business. They are losing the business. That's why what these people will do, they will not use these frameworks. If they use this framework, what is the problem? Tomorrow, if they are charging more money, customer will go to other company. The customer will take the source code. Customer will give that code to the other company. Then Deloitte will lose the client. Deloitte will lose the money. And Deloitte code is going to other company. So that's why what these people has done is, don't use the Hibernate for our projects. Let us develop our own framework. Let us develop our own framework, which is called Fast4j. So this project is developed by using Fast4j framework to communicate with the database. Fast4j is a Deloitte framework. Can client go to other company with the Fast4j? No. Then what client has to do? He has to pay the $50 to the company. That is how software companies are running in the market. Maintenance cost. Client is no option now. Client cannot go to other company. Why client cannot go to other company? Other companies cannot use Fast4j. Fast4j is specific to Deloitte projects only. I developed this. I'm not the only developer. I was part of the team when we are developing Fast4j framework. We developed a framework like a Hibernate. We no need to use Hibernate. Our framework is better than Hibernate. By using Hibernate functionality, we developed our own framework. How you are using Spring? Similarly, we can use Fast4j to communicate with the database. If you just call one method, record will insert in the database. You no need to write the query also. You no need to load the driver. You no need to get the, you just call save method. My program will take care of loading the driver, getting the connection, create the statement, insert the record into database table. Like that, frameworks development, if you know, then technically you are very, very strong. Whenever you are developing a framework, lot of times we will use the reflection APIs. So that's why I got that clarity on the reflection API when I was part of that Fast4j development, a framework in the Deloitte company. Anybody working in Deloitte? In this group? Is there anybody?
Sir, I'm getting call from Deloitte.
You are getting call from Deloitte. Okay, good.
Yes, sir.
So if you join in the Deloitte, then you will see what is Fast4j. You can see some classes author name as my name. Now if you see, we are using configurable application context. Can you see the author? The developer who developed that class, developed interface. So if you go to Deloitte company Fast4j framework, some classes will be available. Author name, my name will be there. I was in that company from 2015 to 2019. 4 years I worked for that project. That is a Fast4j framework we developed. Good. So we understood what is reflection API and how to access private variable outside of the class. And we understood what is auto wiring, how to use auto wiring at the variable level, which is called field injection. In the tomorrow class, we will understand how to perform auto wiring with the setter, how to perform auto wiring with the constructor. Okay, good. Thank you. Please practice it, guys. We'll see tomorrow.
Sir, GitHub